All right, let's be real. You know that feeling when you're talking to someone and something just feels off? Like they're saying all the right things, but deep down you don't trust them? That's your gut talking. And guess what? It's usually right. One of the biggest red flags of a fake person is inconsistency. They act one way around you, but completely different around someone else. One minute they're your biggest supporter, and the next they're nowhere to be found. Their words and actions never align, and you start to feel like you're dealing with two completely different personalities. You might notice that when they need something from you, they're overly sweet, friendly, and engaged. But the moment you're not useful to them, they disappear, or worse, they act cold and distant. They might make promises they never keep, say they'll be there for you, and then vanish the second you actually need them. Another major sign of inconsistency is how they treat different people. Watch how they act when they're with you versus when they're with someone they want to impress. They might be kind and understanding to you in private, but the second they're in a group setting, they act superior, put you down, or completely ignore you. Fake people shapeshift depending on who's in the room. They say what they think people want to hear instead of being genuine. Their opinions and values also tend to change depending on the situation. One day they're strongly against something, and the next they're all for it because that's what's convenient for them at the moment. They lack a solid foundation of beliefs because their goal isn't authenticity, it's approval. When you start to notice these patterns, you'll realize that it's not a mistake, it's a habit. Fake people are inconsistent because they're not real in the first place. One of the most frustrating things about fake people is that they are never truly present in your life unless it benefits them. They don't check in just to see how you're doing. They don't show up when you need support. They don't celebrate your wins unless it somehow benefits them. But the moment they need something, whether it's a favor, an introduction, or even just attention, they suddenly remember you exist. You'll notice that their messages and calls have a pattern. When things are going well for them, they're silent. But when they're struggling, when they need help, or when they're looking for an opportunity, they reach out as if nothing happened. They'll act friendly, ask how you've been, and pretend like they care until they get what they want. Once they have it, they disappear again. These people are not interested in real relationships. They're interested in convenience. They see others as tools rather than as friends. They might not outright ask for something in the first message, but if you pay attention, you'll realize that every interaction eventually leads to a request. They need a ride, a favor, advice, money, connections, something that benefits them. And the second you're no longer useful, you're back on the shelf, waiting until they need you again. What's even worse is that they often don't reciprocate. If you ever need something, they suddenly become too busy, too distracted, or completely unreachable. They have endless excuses for why they can't be there for you, but they fully expect you to be available for them. If you say no, they might even guilt trip you, act like you're the bad person, or try to manipulate you into feeling responsible for their problems. These kinds of relationships can leave you feeling drained and unappreciated because they're completely one-sided. Fake people don't invest in others emotionally, mentally, or physically unless they see a direct benefit. If you start keeping track of when someone reaches out and notice that it only happens when they need something, you're not dealing with a real friend. You're dealing with someone who is using you. A fake person will rarely celebrate your success with pure intentions. Instead of offering genuine praise, they slip in subtle jabs disguised as compliments. At first, their words might sound nice, but if you listen closely, you'll realize they're not really lifting you up. They're undermining you. A backhanded compliment is when someone says something that sounds like a compliment on the surface, but has an insult hidden underneath. For example, you tell them you got a promotion, and instead of saying, "That's amazing, you deserve it," they say, "Wow, they're really handing out promotions easily these days." Or maybe you've been working hard on your fitness, and they say, "You look great. I didn't think you had the discipline to stick with it." They act like they're giving you credit, but in reality, they're doubting you, belittling your efforts, or making your achievement seem smaller. Fake people use backhanded compliments because they can't stand to see others doing better than them. Instead of openly admitting they feel jealous or insecure, they hide it behind sarcasm, passive-aggressive comments, or humor. They'll make it seem like they're just joking or being playful, but deep down, there's a layer of negativity behind their words. Another example is when they pretend to be shocked by your success. They might say, "Wow, I never thought you'd be the type to pull that off." Or, "I can't believe you actually got that job. Good for you." Instead of congratulating you, they highlight their own disbelief as if you weren't capable of achieving something great. They might also compare your success to luck rather than effort. If you accomplish something significant, they'll say things like, "You're so lucky. Not everyone gets opportunities like that," instead of acknowledging the hard work you put in. This is their way of downplaying your achievement so they don't have to confront their own lack of progress. Backhanded compliments aren't always easy to catch in the moment because they're wrapped in a thin layer of positivity. But if you walk away from a conversation feeling confused, uncomfortable, or doubting yourself, chances are you just received one. Pay attention to how people respond to your wins. Real friends celebrate you without making it about themselves. Fake ones find a way to make you feel small, even while pretending to cheer you on. Fake people are drawn to drama like a moth to a flame. It's almost as if they can't function without some kind of chaos swirling around them. If there's no drama happening, they'll create it. They love stirring the pot, instigating problems, and then sitting back to watch the fallout. Their world revolves around gossip, arguments, and unnecessary conflicts because without it, they don't know how to stay relevant. One of the easiest ways to spot a drama-driven person is by paying attention to how often they talk about other people. If every conversation with them includes gossip, personal attacks, or negative speculation about someone else's life, that's a major red flag. They don't just observe drama, they actively spread it. They'll twist facts, exaggerate stories, and add their own little spin just to make things sound worse than they really are. They thrive on the reactions they get from others, whether it's shock, outrage, or sympathy. These people also love playing the victim. No matter what happens, they always find a way to make themselves look like the one who was wronged. Even if they started the argument, betrayed a friend, or spread a rumor, they'll somehow twist the story to make it seem like they were innocent. They crave attention and validation, so they'll tell the same sob story over and over, fishing for sympathy from whoever will listen. Fake people who thrive on drama are also incredibly good at manipulating situations to keep conflicts going. If two people are having a minor disagreement, they'll jump in and make it worse. Instead of helping resolve the issue, they'll add fuel to the fire, whispering things like, "Did you hear what they said about you?" Or, "I wouldn't let that slide if I were you." They pretend to be neutral, but in reality, they're the ones keeping the drama alive. Another sign is their inability to let things go. While most people can move on from small disagreements, drama-driven people hold on to grudges for as long as possible. They bring up old issues just to reignite fights, constantly reminding others of past mistakes. They feed off tension, so they'll do whatever they can to keep negativity in the air. They also have a habit of acting differently depending on who they're with. They'll be friendly to someone's face, but talk badly about them the second they leave the room. They play both sides of every conflict, pretending to support everyone while secretly working against them. They enjoy seeing friendships and relationships crumble because it gives them something to talk about and makes them feel powerful. The worst part is that their drama often comes at the expense of the people around them. They don't care if their actions hurt others, ruin reputations, or break trust. As long as they have something to be involved in, they're satisfied. Even if they pretend to hate drama, Their actions prove otherwise. If there's always chaos surrounding someone, it's usually because they're the ones creating it. Your gut is your built-in alarm system, and it's rarely wrong. It picks up on things before your mind has a chance to rationalize them away. That uneasy feeling you get around someone, that tension in your chest when they talk, that little voice in the back of your head telling you something isn't right, that's not paranoia. That's your intuition screaming at you to pay attention. Fake people can be charming, smooth, and convincing. They know exactly what to say to gain your trust, and they play the part well. On the surface, they may seem kind, supportive, or even generous, but no matter how much they try to hide their true nature, your body will pick up on the disconnect between their words and their energy. Maybe they smile, but something about it feels forced. Maybe they say all the right things, but their tone lacks warmth. Maybe they offer to help, but it doesn't feel genuine. You can't quite put your finger on it, but deep down, something feels off. That feeling is your subconscious picking up on micro expressions, shifts in tone, and inconsistencies that your logical brain hasn't fully processed yet. One of the biggest mistakes people make is ignoring that gut feeling. Instead of trusting themselves, they try to justify it. Maybe I'm overthinking. They seem nice, so maybe I'm just being too critical. I don't have any proof they're fake, so I should give them a chance. But the truth is, your intuition doesn't need proof. It operates on a level deeper than logic, picking up on subtle cues you don't consciously notice. Think about a time you ignored your gut feeling about someone. Maybe you had a bad vibe from them at first, but you convinced yourself to give them the benefit of the doubt. Over time, they revealed their true colors, and you realized you were right all along. That's because your gut doesn't get confused by charm, fake kindness, or empty words. It sees through all of that. Fake people often leave behind a trail of small red flags that your gut notices before your mind does. Maybe they interrupt you just a little too often. Maybe they never actually listen when you talk. Maybe they say things that don't quite match their actions. On their own, these things may seem minor, but your intuition picks up on the pattern. The more time you spend around them, the stronger that uneasy feeling grows. Your body reacts to energy before your brain catches up. If someone drains you every time you talk to them, if you feel tense or exhausted after being around them, if you find yourself questioning your own worth after interacting with them, that's not normal. That's your gut telling you this person is not good for you. The problem is many people ignore their gut because they don't want to believe it. They don't want to accept that someone they care about isn't who they pretend to be. They make excuses for them, hoping that things will change. But ignoring your intuition never makes the situation better. It only prolongs the inevitable. When your gut tells you something isn't right, listen. You don't need a logical explanation. You don't need a list of reasons. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. That uncomfortable feeling inside you is all the proof you need. At the end of the day, life is too short to surround yourself with fake people. The more time you waste on those who drain your energy, manipulate your kindness, or thrive on drama, the less time you have for the people who genuinely care about you. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to justify cutting people off, protecting your peace. It's not selfish. It's necessary. The moment you start trusting your gut, setting boundaries, and walking away from fake energy, you'll notice something incredible. Life gets lighter, the stress fades, the drama disappears, and you make space for real, meaningful connections. So pay attention, watch how people treat you when they don't need anything, listen to what they say when they think you're not around, and most importantly, trust that feeling deep inside that tells you exactly who belongs in your life and who doesn't.